He mentors youth all over this country. You know, the Bible tells us if we are faithful over a few things, that the Lord will bless us with much. And I am a living witness that perhaps the Lord has blessed Lamelle with much because he gives so much to so many and asks for nothing in return. So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself for someone that is phenomenal in his spirit of giving, in his spirit of leadership and entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lamelle McMorris.
Reverend Deere is going on the road with me. Thank you very much, Reverend Deere. She did not lie when she stated that we are very, very dear friends, and we talk a few times throughout the course of the week. Thank you. The attorney said, you know, earlier I announced you as the speaker for the hour. Now, you're not going to speak for an hour, are you? I said, no, ma'am. At Morehouse College, they taught us, be good, be brief, be seated. I'm not certain about the good part, but I will attempt to be brief and I will try to be seated as soon as possible. I am extremely humbled by this invitation. And again, thank you, Reverend Deere. Give a hand to our Mistress of Ceremonies, by the way. I've only met this brother tonight, but I'm overwhelmed to hear how other people speak of him. So you should give another round of applause to Brother Donald Jackson for his service. I'm honored and thank you. Ernestine Jackson, the convention chairperson, give her a round of applause. All of the NAACP Illinois State Conference officers, will you raise your hands, please? Give them a round of applause. Thank you for having me this evening. Thank you, and for your service. Thank you. Branch presidents, raise your hand. Are you here? Give the branch presidents. These are the people that do the work on the ground for this great association. Brother Reed, Regional Field Organizer, thank you for being here, and Linda Jackson, Youth and College President, thank you very much for being here. I'm also joined, and I have a guest here tonight, Lainey Nikes, who's from St. Joseph, Missouri. Lainey, thank you very much for traveling to Peoria with me this evening. What is a dream? It is a vision, a goal, a hope. It has the ability to inspire us to be better. It drives us to make something of ourselves, to help our communities, to believe that we can do anything and to get up every single day and make change happen. A dream is what brings nearly 1 million people to the United States of America each year from around all over the world. And the dreams of so many before us were propelled through the civil rights movement and led us to the progress we've made as a race today. In fact, on October 16th, 1854, right here in Peoria, Illinois, Abraham Lincoln first announced his hope that the United States would eliminate slavery, and 2 years later, his dream came true with the passage of the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution. But as we all know, freedom did not mean equality. In the face of almost no civil rights, a system of legalized segregation, and an overwhelming national culture of racial hatred, African Americans in this country had little hope to cling to despite reaching this milestone. And it was in this landscape that the NAACP emerged with a new dream, not one of freedom, but one of racial justice and equality. 60 people, Brother Jackson, met one day to have a conversation about the continued violence committed against blacks right after the 1908 race riot in Springfield, just 75 miles down the road from where we are tonight. The riots were sparked by the transfer of 2 African American prisoners out of the city jail. This act enraged many white citizens who responded by burning black-owned homes and businesses and killing black citizens. The riot finally ended after the death of more than 7 people. After the meeting, the NAACP quickly became an advocate and leader that has since been instrumental in improving the legal, educational, and economic lives of African Americans and minorities. It cultivated its own vision, one of securing for all people the rights guaranteed in the 14th and 15th Amendments to the United States Constitution, which promise the equal protection of the law and universal adult male suffrage. Throughout its existence, the NAACP has persisted in its objective, working primarily through the legal system, Judge, to fulfill its goals of full civil rights and an end to racial violence. And perhaps this vision of equality was best articulated by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on August 28, 1963, when he said, "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed, Reverend. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. A dream that one day the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood, that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together." What troubles me this evening as I stand before you is not that these dreams lack importance, attorney, or power, but that these are still just dreams. The words of Dr. King will never lose their force and will forever be a part of history. But isn't it time that his words stop describing a hope for our future and instead describe a goal that our predecessors had in the past and already accomplished successfully? We're fighting for the same principles that leaders before us did. And I fear that the next generation of leaders will be doing the same. The great poet Langston Hughes once asked, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? While it was a dream that drove the civil rights movement over 50 years ago to move forward, today we can defer this dream of equality no longer. So sure, a dream is a source of inspiration, but it's also a fantasy, an imaginative thought, a state of mind characterized by abstraction and a release from reality, a delusion that makes us forget what's actually in front of us. Unfortunately, it's also not the truth. So then, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you this evening, what is real? What truths stand before us tonight? When will this dream, this fantasy that we've held on to for so long, become a reality? When will African Americans be able to stop dreaming about social, legal, and economic equality and actually be able to live it? To a young man facing years of incarceration, or a 22-year-old without a high school diploma, or a mother who can't get the health care she needs for her sick child, a dream means very little. The NAACP has taken critical steps in getting us to this point. We buried Jim Crow, made schools accessible to black children, fought for the Voting Rights Act, and helped transform the face of electoral politics. And these successes were built on the dreams of individuals like Rosa Parks, Thurgood Marshall, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., people who devoted their lives to eliminating a national heritage of racism. Their work has put those of us here in a position to continue a tradition of change. But I charge you to go beyond celebrating the accomplishments of the past and fully bring to life the dreams of our predecessors, because guess what? They're still dreams, not reality. Instead, the reality is that between 1984 and 2007, the African American and white median wealth gap more than quadrupled, going from $20,000 to $95,000, Brother Jackson. This gap in wealth is enough to pay the full tuition at a 4-year public university for 2 children, plus tuition at a public medical school. So while a black child only dreams of becoming a doctor, his white friend at school can actually become one. Here in Illinois, African Americans face unemployment rates that are double that of whites. The unemployment rate for blacks increased to 17.1% in 2009, while white unemployment increased to just 9%. African American men in Illinois had the highest unemployment rate at over 20% last year. That's more than double the national average. Plus, even though the 2008 poverty level in Illinois is just below the national average, which is 13%, the poverty rate is the highest among African American residents at 27.4%. The glaring disparities between black and whites are particularly apparent in the realm of education. I'm sorry if this isn't what you all wanted to hear this evening.
It's reality.
In 2008, nearly 62% of the Asian population and 32% of whites in Illinois had bachelor's degrees or better.